Hi guys, welcome to this video tutorial on creating your image gallery in ASP.NET Core 2.1. In the last video tutorial, we fixed our file paths in our database. Now, what we are going to do in this video tutorial, we are going to create an HTTPGET method that will help us to get all the images of a specific gallery by its ID and display it in our browser in JSON format. It's an API that will return all the data in JSON format, and then we can use that data to create our image slider. So let's go ahead and create our HTTP GET method. So first thing we want to do is specify the attribute HTTP GET. And since we want to get an image gallery by its ID, we would want to specify the parameter as well. So let's do that. Now, let's go ahead and create our method. Our method will be a public method of type iActionResult that's going to return an iActionResult. Let's call this method as getImageGallery. You can name this method whatever you like. Since it's more convenient for me to name it as getImageGallery because that's what this method intends to do. And now we want to get an image gallery by its ID. So we need to specify the ID, and that's the parameter that we are going to send to the method. Now, where does it get this ID from? It gets the ID from the browser URL. So therefore, it's good to get the ID from the route. So we will specify the attribute from route. So when the method is called, it will search for the ID in the route. If you have created a form or you're calling it from the body, specifying the ID from the body, you can change the attribute here. But in this tutorial, in this scenario, I'm getting the ID from the route, so I am going to specify the route attribute. Next thing, first thing we want to check if the model state is valid, so let's do that quickly. If it's not valid, I'm going to return a bad request. So let's return a bad request, HTTP bad request. So bad request, and I'm going to return the model state. So now the request was valid. So if it was valid, then the next part of the code will execute. We will create a variable and call it result. And what this variable will store, it will store all the data that we receive from our database after running our link query, and it will assign it to this variable. So we are going to use link in order to query our database entities. So let's do that. So from gin underscore db dot galleries underscore db is a dependency injection object that we created, and galleries is the entities that will store all the information that is received from the database gallery table in galleries object. Now what we are going to do is we are going to join our gallery image table to our galleries table. So let's do that. So we will use the join keyword, and we will use join I in underscore db dot gallery images. Okay, this GNI is just the keyword I use. You can use anything. It's like when you write for each loops for item in specific collection, you can use any keyword over here. So I used I because I stands for like images and G stands for like galleries. Okay, you can use anything that you like. Now when it joins all the gallery images on the galleries, I don't want it to join everything. I want it to join all the galleries images whose ID matches the gallery ID. So therefore let's specify this condition here. We'll create a lambda expression over here saying t dot gallery ID is equal to the ID that is specified in the parameter. So if you have images whose gallery ID is not matching the ID in the parameter, it will not attach that. It will only join the ones whose ID matches your required parameter. Next thing that we know, when we are creating a join statement, we have to specify the on word in links, so on keyword. So let's say on g dot to join the entities, we will use g dot gallery ID equals I dot gallery ID. So that's the one there. And finally, when the table is, they have joined the entities, when link has joined the entities, we are now going to create a new object. You can just return the object G itself, but the reason why I'm going to create a new object and return it, I will tell you when we execute this code. So all you're going to do is, I've created some objects, new objects such as gallery underscore ID, and assigned it the value of g.gallery ID, which is our galleries. I did this because then we will have access to what we are sending to the front end when the API is called. And I will, as I told you, I will show you when I call the web API, I will show you at the front end what exactly I was referring to, so you can control what is being sent to your web API. Next thing that you want to do is, now you want to run a condition. The condition is your result object, which stores the result from the database. You want to make sure that you have received some result. Let's say you received nothing. You are searching in gallery with ID 11, and there is no gallery with ID 11, so it's going to return a null result. There's nothing. So what it's going to do is, if it's returning null, we want to send to the browser a not found, HTTP not found response. By doing this, the method or the client which is calling this web API will know that this particular ID doesn't exist or it's null. It's not going to tell you it doesn't exist, it's just going to say not found. And then finally, if everything is fine, if the result contained a gallery, then it is going to return that gallery. So we are going to send a response of OK and then attach the result to our response. Now let's go ahead and run this application and test this iAction method that we just created to get our images by specific ID, gallery ID. Okay guys, now to call the API, we need to specify the API / the controller's name. So the API is API / our controller is gallery controller, and I'm targeting the ID 11 because my database contains a gallery ID 11 and some images associated with that gallery. So let's try to call this API now. So the GET request is executed, and then what we see is 3 images being loaded because our image gallery with ID 11 contains 3 images. We received 3 images. So what we got here in the result is a JSON array which contains the result. And look at this. You will see the objects that it created. We created a new object after the result was received. So gallery ID, gallery title, gallery path, image ID, image underscore path, and image underscore caption. So we received this result because we created a new result out of the result that we received from our database. In this way, we could control what was returning back to the client. If you just use the word select G or select I, it's going to return everything. If you want to return all the information about the object, you can do it, but I don't want to. I just want specific information to be returned. So that's why I returned that. So You can go ahead and create your own variables here, and you can return it like key values. But in this case, I just wanted the following objects to be returned, properties to be returned in my result. So that's why I use the select new keyword over here. And then let's also test in our inspect developer tools. If we go to network tab and we refresh this, the response is a success. Now let's try for something 12, the ID that doesn't exist. So I don't have any image with gallery ID 12. So I'm going to test that. Hit enter. I'm still getting a success response. That's because my code, my API code was executing fine, just communicating with the database, and it's returning a result, but it's empty. You can further go ahead and add more conditions over here if it's empty, what you want to do. But in this case, I just left it as it is. There are many HTTP response codes that you can use to while you're coding your APIs. And now, finally, let's also check 1007 because there's only one image associated with that gallery ID. And let's add 1007, enter. So we just get one image. If you go to your call and the response, it's one image that's returned. So now we have a JSON array that's being returned with all the necessary information that is required for us to create our image slider. That is the image path, the image name, and so on. We will go ahead and now use this information to create our gallery in our front end, an image slider that we can create in our front end using this information. So in the next video tutorial, we will create our image slider and then display it. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe my channel Tech Howdy.